Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of United Talks podcast. It's been a while. It's been a really long while, but yeah, really want to thank you all for all your support and everything in between. You guys have been the real OGs. Started from somewhere and we're headed somewhere. So I really appreciate you all for your support. And I'm bringing you news with regards to. This news is 2 days old, but I had to kind of bring it because we need to talk about it, and I needed to kind of clarify the thoughts, basically. But this is from the communications department of Manchester United, where they talked about Manchester United have secured. Now, understand, United secures land for new 100,000 seater stadium. When you see this headline, you might think, okay, basically all is done. They've secured the land, everything is secured, and everything in between. But let's look at it deeper. Manchester United has secured the majority of the land required to build a new 100,000 seater stadium, making a major milestone in the long-term vision to transform the Old Trafford area. Majority doesn't mean they've got all the land. So let's look at it. Now, the new stadium, which will become the biggest sporting arena in the UK, will serve as a catalyst for the regeneration of the surrounding district, helping to create one of the most dynamic and globally significant sporting and entertainment destinations in the world. The club acquired the 25-acre site located approximately 350 meters north of the current stadium from Indurent, the leading provider of industrial space, and a Blackstone portfolio company. United will engage directly with businesses impacted by the plans to support them through the transition period. This was by Colette Roche. Colette Roche is the CEO of Manchester United's new stadium development. Colette says, "We are committed to building a world-class stadium with our supporters, not just for them, with atmosphere, affordability, accessibility at the heart of our thinking." Now, the club has also worked in close collaboration with Old Trafford Council and Old Trafford Regeneration Mayoral Development Corporation, OTRMDC, to ensure the location of the new stadium works cohesively with the wider Old Trafford Regeneration strategy, ensuring optimum connectivity and the best possible experience for fans. If you've been to Old Trafford or the Old Trafford area, you will understand what happens around that area. There's a lot of buildings, there's a lot of land before the stadium. If you're walking directly towards the stadium, you walk through some housing properties that are kind of like left bare, or will I say abandoned. But obviously for Manchester United to actually acquire that, if that is the area, but I'm just kind of saying based on my experience being at Old Trafford and all of that. The 370-acre regeneration project is expected to deliver 15,000 new homes. So there are some abandoned homes in that area, like some apartment buildings that have been abandoned. I don't know if they're still abandoned, considering the last time I was there. Including affordable housing, create 48,000 new jobs locally and over 90,000 nationally, and add more than 7 billion a year to the UK economy. That's projected, and that's a plan for the club and everything. This is according to what they said at the Man United website. Colette Roche, CEO of Manchester United New Stadium Development said, today's news highlights the progress that we're making toward the world-class new home for Manchester United, and it represents a significant milestone as we move into the next phase of development. Being able to build so close to Old Trafford allows us to preserve the heritage, traditions, and rituals that are so important to our fans. We are committed to building a world-class stadium with our supporters, not just for them, with the atmosphere, affordability, and accessibility at the heart of our thinking. Now, if you know Old Trafford and you know the Old Trafford stadium and things, you would know that basically that stadium has it has some significance, and if you look very well, there's a rail line, passing that stadium by the side of the stadium. So you have to basically you have to basically be very smart to actually see where the rail line is passing. And they said north of the stadium. So basically they'll be getting land, near there, but then they didn't talk about the Freightliner because there's a Freightliner on the other side, right? That's the one where they're still trying to resolve as well. But yeah, now this is a generational opportunity that is fully aligned with both the local and national growth ambitions. Securing the right land for our new home has been absolutely critical, and the land we've acquired gives us the stage to deliver the world-class stadium that honors our past and is ready for our future. The OTR MDC will publish its vision for the Old Trafford regeneration on Thursday, 9th of July, when further details of the stadium site and formal consultation period will be revealed. So, yeah. Now, I'll just do a quick research and I'll tell you what I found out and what is next and what is most likely going to happen. At least for the next 3, 4, 5 minutes, we're going to talk about that. Just analyze this new stadium plan. Now, basically, like I said, just a short research will just tell us where we're at with this whole new stadium plan, because obviously they have not completely secured everything. So Manchester United's recent land acquisition for the new stadium does not include the Freightliner land. The Freightliner land has been the bone of contention, right? I'm going to show you the thumbnail that I created, and I'll show you the Freightliner land just to give you a bit of an idea. So if you look at, now let me see if I can share that with you. Just a quick sec here. Okay. Just let me show you from the Man United website so you can get a sense of an idea what I mean. Then I'll zoom this in quickly. Yep. Okay. Now, just to show you a bit of what I mean. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the new stadium acquired, if you can see my mouse, the new land acquired would be around here, right? Will be around here, because if you look here, there's a rail line going across, so they're not going to want to touch anything around this area, right? There's some housing complex which will most likely be redeveloped, right? There's some buildings here, but if you look here, this is the Freightliner side of things, and United wants to acquire the Freightliner side. Then this is the side, most likely the part where Manchester United have acquired, right? So now that's pretty much straightforward, as I wanted to just basically show you, right? Now, if you look at that, that tells you like Man United have not really gotten all that they need, right? Now, because the news outlets are reporting it's a breakthrough, yeah, no doubt, but the main bone of contention is that Freightliner land, right? Maybe I could show you maybe another image to kind of give you some clarity. Maybe that will really help. Let's see if we can find that. Yeah. Okay. So this is according to the sun, right? This is according to the sun. I'll just show you that, and then you can get a sense of an idea, and I'll zoom it in too as well, so you guys can see the map. So yeah, we secured the stadium, but we have this site, but we're actually not secured what we need or all that we need. We secured part of what we need. So now this is Old Trafford. Yeah, as you can see in the map, this is the plan, but this is also the Freightliner. This is the new site acquired. Don't forget, this is the Freightliner land, right? And then this is the rail going by. So if you look at that, the rail, there's also some rail lines going this way, and then there is the Freightliner land. If I can show you again closely, let's leave that. Okay, so there's this is the Freightliner land. This is the new land acquired. This is current Old Trafford with the parking on this side and all that. So that tells you that we still need this area. We still need some part of this area. And I'm sure this area is still part of Old Trafford, but we need this area. This is the side I was pointing at before, but this is actually where they've acquired. So over the Freightliner land. So that the Freightliner land is actually the main bone of contention in all of this. It's not like any other thing. The Freightliner land is actually the main bone of contention. So just as I said, after talks with the Freightliner company had stalled, over valuation differences, and the club agreed to purchase a different 25-acre triangular plot for the new to the northwest of Old Trafford. The key details of the acquisition. Now, with location, the newly secured site is located approximately 350 meters northwest of the current Old Trafford, which I just showed you now. Situated between the Wharfside Way and Europa Way and John Gilbert Way. The landowner, as the land was purchased from Indurent, an industrial space provider, and Blackstone portfolio company. The Freightliner status, because the new site allows the club to be closer to Salford Quays, adjacent land owned by Freightliner is no longer required for the stadium construction itself. So they've gone over and they are going to build the stadium not too far from Old Trafford. So maybe Old Trafford is still going to remain as a site, and all of that. That looks more realistic, basically. Now, the next question will now be, what does this mean for Old Trafford? The new land deal basically ensures that Manchester United will continue to play at the current Old Trafford Stadium without disruption while the new 100,000-seater stadium is being constructed. And that is a fact. Now, why do I say this? They've secured the land for the 100,000-seater stadium. They need the land around the area, but they're going to still build Old Trafford anyway. They're going to build the new stadium anyway, while the other stadium is being used. But because the newly acquired 25-acre Indurent site sits 350 meters northwest of the current ground, the two structures will not overlap during the build phase. So they'll be maintained differently, right? Now, what happens during that construction? That's another question, right? Zero disruption. The club does not need to temporarily relocate or downsize matchday capacities. The team will play all home games at the existing Old Trafford until the new arena is fully completed. Now, with regards to what Khalid said, it will preserve the match day rituals. Fans can maintain their historic match day walking routes, local pub visits, and traditions because the new stadium is built on the same wider footprint, right? Now, what happens to the Old Trafford, to the old stadium after the move? Now, the exact fate of the current Old Trafford Stadium remains a fluid piece of a master plan, but the primary options under review would include that they scale it down basically as a heritage option. Now, initial concepts suggested that reducing the capacity of the current stadium to roughly around 30 to 35,000 seats, it will be preserved as a historical monument to host Manchester United women's matches, academic team fixtures, and community sports events. That is what it would be. It would most likely be the suggestion, right? Now, another option under review would be to completely demolish the stadium for regeneration. Now, because the stadium footprint is part of a massive 370-acre regeneration project, and they got 250-acre. Wow. Okay, that is super interesting. Now, because the stadium is part of a 370-acre regeneration project, the ground could be completely cleared to make way for a planned 15,000 new homes, commercial retail space, and new transport hubs. So that means this is a groundbreaking event. As I was thinking, we needed to get the whole area, but it's a groundbreaking event to actually secure a new a majority of the land needed to build the new stadium. Now, according to the Manchester United official website, Old Trafford Regeneration and Memorial Corporation, that's OTRMRDC, as I mentioned, will officially publish the draft master plan on Thursday, 9th of July 2026. So when that draft master plan is out, we'll probably kind of analyze it. Maybe they'll rescale and rebuild to scale, but still have that 100,000 seater with the master plan of what it will look like. They'll kind of maybe go back to the drawing board and kind of come up with something that is more remodeled to suit the land that they've just occupied, they've just bought. Now, the public review will continue, will outline the definitive architectural future of the historic 116-year-old ground. So, yeah, it is an estimated $2 billion project, $2 billion or £2 billion project. Now, that sounds like they've made strides. I know most fans don't like the fact that we're going to build a new stadium, but foreign fans might not understand how deeply rooted things are with regards to Old Trafford. But for the new fans, it will be a good, wholesome experience for them and all of that. Maybe if they keep the Old Trafford Stadium as a monument, people can still go there and relive memories and all of that. I mean, imagine the amount of players that have played at that stadium and all of that. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. I just thought to bring you this and to analyze it so we don't basically just build momentum without actually knowing what we're building momentum for. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to all things Manchester United. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.